Okay, so sit yourself onto your left. Come into a good cross-leg position. And just get yourself comfortable. Feel that you're sitting evenly underneath your seat bones, and then hold onto your knees, lift and open your chest. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Sometimes when you get out of bed, your shoulders are a little bit stiff, aren't they? So my shoulders feel quite stiff this morning. So holding onto the knees, lifting the front chest and drawing the shoulders down away from the ears just helps to kind of really lengthen around the back of the neck. Feels good. Just look down at the floor, look at something that's not moving. Listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Fill the lungs from the bottom to the top and empty the lungs from the top to the bottom. Release your knees, bring your hands into Namaste. Just lengthen from the armpits into the elbows. Squeeze the elbows in towards each other so that you push into the heels of the hands. And from the heels of the hands, lengthen up into the fingertips. And then gently allow your eyes to gently close. Keep your eyes still beneath the sockets. Without dropping the head, look down into the chest cavity. Use the eyeballs to look down. And notice the almost immediate quietness that comes over the brain. Focus on drawing the breath in through the nose. Filling the lungs from the bottom to the top, feeling the chest expand upwards and outwards. Focusing on breathing evenly into both lungs, evenly out of both lungs. And then gently draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone. And then hold on to that feeling, release the backs of your hands down toward your knees. Press the backs of the palms onto the knees, palms facing upwards, and then raise your head. Open your eyes. Just hold onto your knees, lift and open the chest, and then turn to the right side. So just stretching the sleep out of the body, turning evenly, using the out breath to intensify the turn. And then come back to the center, hold onto your knees, lift and open the chest, and then turn to the left. Using the out breath to intensify the turn. And then very gently come back to the center. Just come off your lift and then sit back on your heels. So just sit with the big toes together, the knees apart, and just have a little wriggle into the hips. Draw the outer buttock into the inner heel. So see if you can really make good contact with the seat bones and the heels. Just sit for a moment and just observe that if you just sit passively, then gravity has a tendency to drag you down to the floor. So just observe the shins, observe the connection of the shins on the mat. And then consciously press the shin bone into the shin skin. So especially around the kind of bottom middle of the shin, press down into the shin skin. And then notice that the thighs become activated, and that we can start to more actively raise the chest upwards. So that rather than yielding to gravity, we find our own energy, our own lightness. And that's from the way that we connect with the floor. So maintain that action in the shins, and then start to come forwards, hinging at the hips, not at the back. Pressing the seat bones down into the floor, keeping the chest lifted. Spreading the palms. And then finally bringing your forehead down. Press the palms into the floor. Lengthen from the palms into the wrists, into the elbows, into the shoulders, into the hips. But at the same time, lengthen from the knees into the toes. Pressing the shins down. Lengthen from the knees into the hips. So the legs aren't just passive, they become engaged in the action of the pose. Come up onto all fours, have your hands as wide apart as the mat. Have your little finger on the edge of the mat, stretch the thumbs towards each other, turn your toes under, and then with bent knees initially, come up into dog down. And then straighten your legs by tightening your kneecaps. Turn your heels out. Lift the kneecaps, press the knee through to the back of the kneecap, through to the back of the knee. Just observe the activation of the legs. Are they working evenly? So there's always going to be an enthusiastic leg and a less enthusiastic leg. Try and get the less enthusiastic leg to work to mirror the more enthusiastic leg. So the effort feels even. Is the effort between the arms and the legs even? The arms and the torso and the legs. And then step your feet forwards, just come up into a standing position. And then get your blocks for half uttanasana. So remember, in uttanasana, you come as far as your back will allow. So if you've got problems with your back, you might just want to go to the blocks, or you might not want to go to the blocks at all. You might want to go to a top of the table or a windowsill or the back of a chair and just stretch your arms out like that. Otherwise, turn the feet, turn the toes in. Have your feet as wide apart as the mat. Turn your toes in and feel that the legs start to rotate inwards as well. Lift from the inner heel up into the inner ankle, up into the inner knee. Lift up into the chest, raise your arms up and then hinge at the hips. Keep your arms lifted as you come forwards. Feel the backs of the knees opening up as you come down, and then reach down to the blocks. Turn your thighs inwards, lift the kneecaps, draw the thigh muscle up into the bone, up into the hip. Just observe again, are your legs working evenly? Is that enthusiastic leg working more firmly than the less enthusiastic leg? So work to even out the effort. Are you projecting your chest forwards? If you can go down a little lower, then do. Observing the changes in the legs and in the torso. If you can find the floor again, then do. But maintain the action of the legs. Maintain the action of the torso, projecting the chest away from the legs. Identify where your weight is in your legs, in your feet. Is it in the ball joint of the foot or the toes? Or can you hit your legs back so that your weight goes into your heels? Sometimes you have to do the opposite to feel how the two actions feel. So bring your legs forward, keeping the legs activated so the weight goes into the ball joint of the foot. And then lift the legs and slowly draw the legs back so you can feel that the weight transfers from the ball joint of the foot to the heel. Keep it in the heel and then project the chin and the chest forward all the more. If you can go further, reach down, grab the heels of the feet, grab the ankles, and then draw the body in, but maintaining that evenness of action, evenness of breath. Okay, release your hands down to the floor, come back into half uttanasana, and then bring your hands into your hips, bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into standing position, come up into tadasana. So the inner edge of your feet are touching. Spread the toes. Lift the chest. Lengthen the shoulders away from the ears. Just look directly ahead. Look at something that's not moving. Activating the legs. Lift your toes to sharpen the action of the legs. Again, drawing your weight back so that your weight is in your heels. Just bring the toes down, but lengthen from the heels into the toes. Bring your arms out nice and wide into the chest, and then step or jump the feet apart nice and wide for trikonasana. And then turn your left toes in and your right leg and foot all the way out. Just being mindful of placing this foot, the heel of this front foot, in line with the instep of the back. So just notice as you just bring this foot outwards, these toes outwards, how it adjusts the position of your hips. So how it makes you want to kind of go that way. So see if you can just correct that, bring the hips to face the front. And then think about the crease of the groin. So the crease of the groin is where your leg meets the torso. So that crease of the groin, think of a spot in the middle of the crease of the groin. And then I want you to lengthen from that spot on the crease of the groin over to the little toe side of the foot. So this leg starts to turn. So turning from this inner groin to the little toe. And then from the heel, from the outer heel into the big toe in a diagonal. So there's some diagonals to consider. Turning outwards from the inner groin to the little toe, from the heel into the big toe. And then from the inner groin across to the left shoulder. So we broaden here, we broaden there, we broaden here. So we open up the front of the body. Keep turning this leg, turning the thigh, keep turning the whole, not just the shoulder, not just turning the shoulder, it's turning all the way across. And then reach your arms out and then come down. Find the shin. So continue to turn from the inner groin to the little to little toe, then from the heel, outer heel into the big toe, from the inner groin across the chest to the left shoulder. Breathing evenly. Consider the position of the right buttock bone. Is it pushing outwards or is it sucking inwards? So the more you turn that front leg, the more the buttock bone comes into position. The more you rotate the chest, the more you lift the head towards the back of the room so that the head is over the foot, the more that buttock bone moves inwards. Reach up with the top hand, come back to the center. Just release your hands for a second and then swap the feet around. Turn the right toes in and the left leg and foot all the way out. Again, turning from that inner groin to the little toe side. So that makes the whole of the thigh turn. But it's a really specific action from here over to there, and then from the outer heel into the big toe, and then from the inner groin across the chest towards the right shoulder. So keep turning that leg, keep rotating the chest. Feel where the front leg, left leg buttock bone is. Is it pushing towards the wall behind you, or can you squeeze it forward? With your back leg, is that pushing forwards with the left buttock bone, or can you push it towards the back of the room? Softening the jaw and in the tongue. And then reach up, come back to the center, bring the feet parallel, and then step or jump your feet back together. And then just come back into Tadasana. Just breathing evenly and deeply, listening to the sound of the breath. Bring your arms out nice and wide, in towards your chest, and then step or jump the feet apart, a little wider than for trikonasana. Turn your left toes in, your right leg and foot all the way out. Turning from that inner groin to the little toe, lengthening from the outer heel into the big toe, and then rotating across. So keeping that back leg really firm, so push from the hip into the heel with that back leg, tighten the kneecap, and then bend and descend. As you bend, keep rotating this inner thigh to the little toe side. Find a right angle with that front leg. Look over the middle finger of the right hand. So again, think about where that bent leg buttock bone is going. Is it going towards the back of the room, or can you squeeze it in? This back leg, can you push it towards the back of the room? Lengthen from that inner groin across to the little toe side. And then straighten the leg. Release the hands, swap the feet around, turn the right toes in, left leg and foot all the way out, and then turn to face the front. Turn around to the little toe side. So it's this buttock bone. So sometimes when we come into, especially Virabhadrasana 2, this back buttock bone wants to stick out. So we've got to really press that buttock bone in. So turn, and then turn. Keep this back leg really firm. And then bend the knee. But as you bend that knee, don't let this knee collapse inwards. Just let the knee collapse inwards for a second. Let this knee collapse inwards and feel what happens with the buttock bone. Now rotate and feel what happens with the buttock bone. The buttock bone pushes forward. So keep this inner groin to the outer shoulder, diagonal. Lengthen out of the hips up into the chest. And then straighten the leg, bring the feet parallel, and then step or jump your feet back together. Just stand in Tadasana, lift and open the chest, breathe evenly and deeply. Just bring the feet apart, hip width apart, turn your toes in, raise your arms up, hook the thumbs into the crease of the elbows. If you're protecting your back, just go halfway in Uttanasana, just go to the back of a chair, or a table. Otherwise, hinge at the hips and then allow the top of the body to hang down. So activating those legs evenly. Letting the body hang down. Activating the legs. Pushing the fronts of the legs through to the backs of the legs. Rotating the outer hip towards the inner heel. Rotating the outer thigh, the outer hip into the inner heel. Breathing evenly, feeling the rise and the expansion of the chest as you open the breath, as you breathe into the bottom of the lungs to the top of the lungs. Okay, release your hands down to the floor and then come up into a standing position. So come onto all fours, just bring your hands as wide apart as your shoulders this time. Step your feet back a little and then tuck the toes under and come up into dog down. Just feel that there is evenness in the extension on the left side of the upper body and the right side. Feel that there's evenness in the legs. Breathe evenly and deeply. And then come down onto your knees and then just sit back on your heels. Just sit on the heels and just lift and open the chest, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Breathing evenly and deeply. And then just stretch your legs out and just sit yourself either on a lift or directly on the floor in Dandasana. So if you struggle to lift your chest, if you kind of sink here and your legs aren't doing very much work, then sit on a folded blanket or sit on a couple of blocks just to give you a little extra lift. So that then you can activate your spine more easily. In fact, everyone just sit on the floor to start off with and then come into Dandasana, push the heels away, lift and open the chest, drive the spine upwards. So just directly on the floor, lengthen from the hips into the heels, turn these outer thighs in towards the inner heels. Outer thighs, outer hips into the inner heels, and then lift and open the chest. So the hands press in into the floor to your side so you can lift and open the chest. And then release. And now get your blanket, your folded blanket, and then just sit yourself on top of the blanket, just to see if you can feel the difference. So sit yourself on the blanket. So the blanket doesn't give you a lot of lift. Try not to get the backs of your thighs kind of trapped on the blanket. Just sit on the edge of the blanket and then just see, is there any difference in the way that you can extend your legs and lift up into the chest. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Have a belt handy where you can reach it. So we can do janu sirsasana. So keep your right leg straight and then bend the left leg and then bring the knee out to the side. So if this knee is kind of floating up in the air, then you need to put a block underneath the head of the knee, just to, you can't see there, I'm just going to show you on the other side. So you put a block under the head of the knee, just so that you kind of protect the knee. But if your calf is kind of on the floor, but the knee's not quite there, then that should be okay. Have your hands at your hips and then lift and open the chest. So as soon as you bring this leg back, observe what happens with the hips. Just feel behind you, has the bent leg buttock bone pushed back a little. So just hold onto the knee and try and squeeze that front leg buttock bone forwards. As you do that, turn the abdomen so that the chest is facing the straight leg. Reach up with the left arm and then come forward. See if you can reach around the outside edge of the foot. If you can't reach, you can just get hold of the outside of the shin. So get hold of the outside of the foot. And then with the other hand, rotate the abdomen so that you're really kind of drawing over that front leg. And then reach around the foot and then take hold of the inside of the foot with the left hand, the outside of the foot with the right hand. If you can't reach, then use your belt. Give yourself the space with the belt. So get hold of the foot. Try to take your thumbs with your fingers. Don't push your thumbs into the top of the foot. Bring your thumbs around the foot. Lengthen from the hip and into the heel of the straight leg. Squeeze that bent leg buttock bone forwards. Keep lifting and opening the chest. Bend your elbows out to the side and see if you can come forwards a little. Be cautious of this with your back. So if you've got problems with your back, just stay at the first stage. So see if you can draw the abdomen across the thigh. Just gently coming forwards, lengthening from the outer hip into the inner heel of that straight leg. If you can reach around the foot, then do. Keeping the abdomen connected to the thigh, keeping the chest lifted as you come forward. Breathing evenly. And then gently bring the chest down onto the leg. And then release the head. But if you're miles away from your head, don't just drop. If you're miles away from your leg, don't just drop your head. Come forwards, keep lengthening the front chest forwards. So when you come forward, maybe your leg rolls from the inner to the outer. So keep that thigh tadasanalizing that leg. Keep the upper thigh rotating from the little toe side to the big toe side. And then lift your head and then come back to the center. Just observe the quietness that comes over the body as you come out of the forward bend, and then straight, bring that leg back and straighten the leg out in front. So janu sirsasana, it's really good for opening up energy in the spine, but really good for the liver and for the kidneys. So just lift and open the chest. Bring your hands to the sides of the hips and press the hands into the floor. Lift the chest. And then bend the right leg, bring the foot up as high as the top of the perineum as you can. And then again, supporting that thigh if it kind of raises, if it doesn't reach the ground. And turn this leg. So when we come forwards, the leg always wants to do this, doesn't it? It wants to kind of rotate outwards. Turn the leg inwards. So bring your hands behind you. Just feel the position of your hips. Have you disturbed them as you brought this bent leg out to the side? Squeeze that bent leg buttock bone forwards. Reach up with the right hand and then come forwards and reach either around the outside of the shin or around the little toe side of the foot. Lift the chest. Get hold of the abdomen and then rotate the abdomen so that it comes over the leg. And reach for the outside edge of the foot with the right hand, with the left hand inside of the foot with the right hand. So just the hands are kind of on the inside and the outside of the foot. Reach up with the chest. Tadasanaise the leg. Start to come forwards if you are coming forwards, and feel that the abdomen makes contact with the thigh. Breathing evenly. So just working with the belt or working just at the first stage if you're protecting your back. Reach around the foot if you can. And then just gently start to come forwards. But make contact with the abdomen. Make contact with the sternum bone. And then release the head. Breathing evenly. Listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. And then just gently raise your head. Come back to the center and then stretch your legs out in front. Stay on your lift and then just come into baddha konasana. So pulling the feet in towards the perineum as much as you can. Hold on to your big toes. And then lift and open the chest. So if holding on to your big toes makes you feel like you don't have a lot of space to lift the chest, then sometimes it's good to get hold of the shins and then it gives you a bit more space. Or even using the belt and just bringing the belt underneath the outside edge of the foot, giving yourself plenty of a little bit extra lift, space between the belt and the foot, and then it gives you more space to lift and open the chest. Breathe evenly and deeply. And then just release your legs and bring your legs into just swastikasana. Just staying on the folded blanket. Just hold onto your knees, lift and open the chest. And then turn to the right side. come back to the center, lift and open the chest, and then turn to the left. And then gently come back to the center. And then when you're ready, just come down onto your back and into supta baddha konasana. So just come down onto the floor, hold this, bring the seat bone, the feet in towards the seat bones, and then just lengthen your spine along the floor. Push your heels purposely together. Broaden the abdomen from the belly button out to the abdominal walls. Just breathe evenly and deeply. Soften the jaw and in the tongue and in the throat. And then gently draw your knees towards each other. Have your feet together, or feet apart, your knees together. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from top to bottom, from side to side. Just a gentle massage on the spine. And then very gently roll over onto your right side. And then straighten out the leg and then come up into a seated position. Just come down, have a blanket for your head. You can cover yourself over a little if you need to. Just bring yourself down into a good straight line. Just move your equipment out of the way just so that you can stretch out without feeling constricted. And make sure that you're in a good straight line. Just take your glasses off if you're wearing them. And allow your body to release into the floor. Let go of the muscles of the arms and of the legs. Unhook in the muscles so that the arms and the legs just become heavy on the floor. As you release into the floor, as you let the body just surrender into the floor, Observe that your energetic body rises to the uppermost skin. Distribute that feeling of lightness evenly down to the tips of the toes. Tips of the fingers. The top of the head. Basking in the glow of positive energy that the extensions and the forward bends and the twists bring into the body and to the mind. Spending a little time basking in positive energy, maintaining your focus on that positive energy. So you give yourself an opportunity to just indulge in positivity. When you're ready, begin to wriggle your toes and wriggle your fingers, just bringing yourself back into this physical pose of shavasana. Bend your knees and draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side on your back, just a gentle grounding massage on the spine. And then very gently roll over onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. And just come back into cross legs with the hands in the masti. Just a final spinal lift. Drawing your breath in through your nose, down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you've released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions, the forward bends, the twists, the reclining poses bring to the body and to the mind. And then very gently draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then when you're ready, Just gently release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. And then as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you've given yourself a good stretch. There's been a lot of sunlight in my camera today, sorry about that. So you can give yourself a good stretch and you've got lots of good positive energy to put into the rest of your day. So thank you for joining me.